today I'm excited to be showing you our property and the land basically that we have to work with for our little homestead. Hi and welcome back to My Pocket Homestead. My name is Sandra, and on this channel I am documenting my journey to becoming a homesteader. We have about half an acre of land to work with to create a space where we grow our own food, potentially have our own eggs and milk. And I am sharing everything from growing, gardening, keeping ducks eventually, not just yet, but fermenting, preserving, foraging, and I'm also very interested in learning everything about herbalism and making our own little tinctures and kind of home remedies for the lakes and paints. If this is something that you're interested in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and follow along on this journey. As promised in my first episode today, I am giving you a tiny little tour of our garden, the space that we have to grow and to potentially keep animals to make this homesteading dream come true. So we've been on this property for about 4 years now. We have a small bungalow. It is a lovely little space to live in. And yeah, I've been very busy in the garden for the past 4 years, creating a beautiful space that is functional, but also, yeah, aesthetic. One area that I'm really happy about is this area that I'm in here right now. I created it as a little bit of a wildlife patch. So all the flowers that have been planted here are wildlife friendly, pollinator friendly, and also great for picking. I'm also growing cut flowers to sell on a roadside stand. So that's basically the way that I'm currently making money. Everything that's here in this little wildlife patch is also good for cutting, and they're all perennials, so they come back every year. It's not something that I have to worry about too much during the season, so I can kind of just let that be. Whatever is done flowering, I leave for the wildlife. So that's how this kind of little patch is working. I'm just going to turn around and show you exactly what it looks like. I'm very happy with this area. It's designed so it has something for the pollinators all year around, not just for the pollinators, but for wildlife in general, for the birds especially. And yeah, I'm very happy. I kind of leave it be. Probably in spring I will tidy it up or weed a little bit and cut down everything that is left, just to kind of give it a fresh start for the next season. So, and right next to that area I have my current vegetable garden. When I created that garden, I had the aesthetics in mind and not the functionality. I am quite unhappy with how it is at the moment. It's not working the way that I wanted it to. It's way more work than I wanted it to be. The raised beds aren't really great, and I have this area here on the side where the weeds just keep growing in like viciously. It's really hard to keep under control. Now it is a lovely little patch, it's beautiful, but the plan is to move our vegetable garden out to the front. So everything around here is in raised beds, and I have the stones down. That's one of my biggest regrets, that I have wheat fabric underneath it. So what I've learned now is that wheat fabric, obviously it's plastic, I mean it's very common sense, but it does break down over time. It's plastic after all, and it also leaches obviously the chemicals into the ground, which is very not ideal. So when I create the new area for our vegetables, I will definitely not be putting down wheat fabric again, and yeah, we probably will be doing something else with the stones as well. Now you can see I haven't been really taking good care of it. It's full of weeds. I have a good mix of flowers and vegetables in here. You see my beans, my pole beans, a good bit of corn. I have a nice lovely bed of strawberries here. I have some sweet peas mixed in. These are called Castlevellum. They're definitely my favourite. They're gorgeous sweet peas. Growing raspberries. This year was a really great year for raspberries. They're so good. They're so big. So plentiful this year as well. Oh look, we have little pumpkins. Oh, they're so gorgeous. I didn't even know. I think they're my munchkin pumpkins. Or the baby boos. I don't know. I'm not sure. But they're gorgeous. I'm just delighted to see that now. Had some beans and more corn growing here. Here's my dog. Hi, Buttons. Buttons loves eating the peas from the plants. Don't you, Buttons? He's probably on the lookout for more at the moment. Just hope he doesn't eat the sweet peas. Yeah, and this is the area where the weeds are just growing. It's just not working, and it's really, really hard to maintain. So over the last few years, I have been able to grow a good amount of food in here. We've always had plenty of courgettes and peas and beans and cabbages. We had one year where the broccoli was really good and another year where the cauliflower was really good. I love growing chard just because it's so pretty and it's actually very nutritious as well. I have some fruit growing here as well. You see the rhubarb right behind me, and then along the fence there are some shrubs. The currants, I have black, white and red currant, and a gooseberry as well, and also a tieberry. The tieberry has been growing really well. It seems very invasive, so I need to see how I'm going to keep that in check. But my other berries, they haven't been performing at all, so I haven't been able to harvest anything from it or make anything from it. One year we had the so-called June drop, and this year I think they've all been eaten by the birds. So I need to figure out something a little bit better. Definitely will be moving them from here because it is just not working. My hope is to, once that whole area is gone and we moved all the vegetable growing out to the front, to put a bigger grow house, a greenhouse in place. We have a polytunnel that I will show you now in a minute, and the neighbor is trimming. So while the neighbor is trimming over there and making a lot of noise, I decided I walk over to the other side of the property to show you the place where we're going to move the vegetable garden to. So this is our front garden. It's right in front of our house. And this is a nice big grassy area. The grass is full of moss and weeds. And you can see the big sheet of plastic. So we have this out to smother out the grass as well as the weeds underneath. And this exact spot here will be kind of a neat vegetable garden, a few raised beds, but I will try to grow more things in the ground, and it'll be the space for like those annual vegetables that you'd grow like in rows, or like potatoes and carrots, etc. You see we've already started here on the side with the plastic as well, how we want to do it like in sections. It's quite a big section, but my goal is along the fence to grow fruit shrubs, to create a bit of our own little natural wild hedgerow with things like mulberries and elderberries, hawthorn, those natural things that you go out for to forage for, but are super healthy and good to have in your garden. not just for yourself, but also for wildlife and for the birds. So that's the plan. It's kind of my priority as well to get this strip done, because obviously the shrubs take much longer to establish than the perennials and like growing annual things in raised beds. It is a beautiful area out here. It's very sunny. Because our house is a bungalow, it doesn't throw any shade onto this area either. This big tree over here, this one, this will be removed shortly, because we can't grow anything underneath it. It is so dry underneath that absolutely nothing has been growing there. I've tried a few perennials, but no chance. Anyway, I love the concept of permaculture, and there is a thing called a food forest. So I'm currently exploring the food forest, and I have the idea of turning this whole area, obviously besides the small patch in the corner for growing annual vegetables, to turn this into a food forest combined with the idea of a cottage garden. So growing food, but at the same time growing more perennial flowers and shrubs that I can use for my flower business. And we're also growing more food. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a challenge because I don't really have a my children are calling. I don't really have a plan yet. I just know that I will put the raised beds over here, and that I will have a hedgerow over there. But we do that first. Obviously, everything costs money. You have to get the compost. You have to get the plants. Post buttons. The plants cost a lot of money as well. So it will take definitely time. But that's what they say with food forests as well. They just need time to establish and grow. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful area. I definitely will put a fence around it, because if we really have goats or ducks one day, we obviously want to keep them out from there. Across from this area on our driveway, we have a little portal that leads us right into our beautiful orchard. Now this orchard was only planted about 3 years ago, so the trees are still young. We've got a lot of apples this year for the size the trees are. However, we did not get a single one of them because the crows, we have lots of crows around here, they've been eating away on our fruit. We had a couple of cherries, but also our cherry tree was sick. So that was a bit of a bummer. But I have them nicely arranged in like 2 circles, and I think it's a lovely little area. It's nice that the sun is coming out now. So this is also the area where we want to put our ducks, potentially ducks. I'm still working on it, and my husband isn't 100% bought on it, but I'll get there. I will get there. So here's our garage right behind me, as you can see, and a lot of rubbish that we sorted out, but we ignore that for now. And here, just right next to the garage, we want to create like a little stable sort of thing for the ducks, and a duck house, put a little pond. We think it'll be nice and secure right next to the garage. Obviously we're in the country, so there's a lot of fox around, so we need to make sure that we keep them nice and secure. Now you might be wondering why ducks and not chicken. As I learned just on social media as well, following other homesteaders, duck eggs are bigger, first of all. Duck eggs have more yolk and are more nutritious. And also ducks, they don't damage your garden as much as chicken do. And the duck poo can be used as a good fertilizer for your garden. So while chicken poo can be used as fertilizer too, but you would have to let it rot first, add it to your compost. I don't know exactly how it works because I never actually informed myself about it, because I don't want to have chicken. So the duck poo can be used straight onto the plants. And even like the little duck pond that you might have, the water in there can be used directly on your plants as well as a great fertilizer. So that are the reasons for me to have ducks. So I'm here on the other side of our orchard. I have 3 apple trees altogether, 1 cooking apple and 2 eating apples. I have a damson plum. I have 2 pear trees, 2 different varieties, a sour cherry and a sweet cherry, a quince, and a mirabelle. Now the mirabelle, I don't know if it will ever produce any fruit for us. It's not the ideal tree for Ireland, but you know, with climate change, you never know. Maybe it will actually grow and produce fruit. In our fruit forest, I am thinking of adding another plum, the Victoria plum, because that's the plum that grows better in Ireland compared to the damson. And I am also thinking of planting an apricot tree. Apricots, similar to mirabelles, mightn't be growing super well in Ireland. It needs the right conditions, but I do want to give it a try anyway, because we have the orchard, we have lots of trees already, so I can experiment a little bit as well. Here in front of our garage, you see it's a bit of a dump that all goes to the skip at some stage. But there used to be a big hedge, like a really, really big hedge. It was completely out of control and unmanageable, so we decided to get rid of it. And I am planning on planting a walnut here. The food forest will also have some hazelnuts in it, and I think that'll be a great addition to the garden in regards to homesteading, producing some healthy and protein-rich nuts for ourselves. Now I'm going back to the other side of the property, slowly but steadily. I think my neighbor's done, or at least having a break. And I'm showing you my polytunnel. So the polytunnel is super useful, especially here in Ireland. I have grown tomatoes outside in Ireland, no chance. They don't ripen well, or they foul because it's just too wet. Now this year was a very warm and dry year, but still the tomatoes outside didn't grow as well as the ones inside. So I have some nice and big tomato plants, delicious tomatoes. Can't beat a fresh tomato directly from the plant, from your own garden. They just taste so different. I have cucumbers growing in here as well, and some flowers. One of my favorites is the phlox Drummondii. More strawberries. It's great because growing strawberries inside as well as outside has extended my growing period for strawberries, because in the tunnel they're ripe much sooner than they are outside. And by the time they are ripe outside, the ones in the tunnel are already done. So some more tomatoes and flowers over here, and cucumbers. I have a massive cucumber hanging there. Cucumbers are growing much better in the tunnel as well here in Ireland. Yeah, the tunnel is difficult because you always have to keep up with the watering, which is sometimes a bit hard, especially with the kids, and I don't always find the time, but it's okay. And we have the zinnias growing in here as well. I love zinnias. They're gorgeous. They're great for the flower bouquets as well. But yeah, I have plastic down in the tunnel as well, and I'm growing everything in raised beds. Now we have our septic tank right over here. We were told the septic tank empties like over here, so the sludge field for the septic tank is just right over here. That's why I'm growing my annual flowers over here. I'm always a little bit concerned because obviously we're growing food in the tunnel, because where does the sludge field start and where does it end? And you're not supposed to grow food on a sludge field, so because it could be contaminated with E. coli. Obviously something that's not very safe. So far nothing has happened. The tomatoes are growing well. The cucumbers are fine, but still it's something that I always have in the back of my mind, and that's also a reason why I want to move the polytunnel from here, move it further down to the stream, and I hope that this gives it a little bit more of a distance to the sludge field and makes it just a bit safer. And then my pride, my whole pride is my little flower field, my tiny little flower farm. So I turned you around so I can show it to you better. I have about 5 rows here. I have a row along the polytunnel and I have a row going over there. I started with 3 rows in the first years, and then this year's the second year that I've been growing flowers for cutting and selling. And it's going really well. I'm really enjoying it. It's a nice little side hustle and side income. It's a lot of work. Look at these gorgeous things. Beautiful. The sweet peas are already so done for the year. And yeah, it's a nice little place. It grows enough, gives me enough space to grow enough to keep the stand stocked every week. Here we started 2 new beds. This is going to be our squash tunnel one day. We just need to buy the arches for it. And then hopefully next year it will be a nice lovely squash tunnel. So lots of squashes. Squashes are great, especially for the winter months if you keep them. And another extension here for the flowers. This will be a bed specifically for the dahlia, so I want to grow them in the ground rather than the pots. And here we are back at the orchard. So we'll be putting a fence around it that the ducks and the goats can't escape. That's pretty much what we have to work with. I think I showed enough. I know it's sometimes hard to imagine this on a video or in a video, but at the same time I don't want to show too much of my private property. We have a lot of space. Like, I keep thinking I call it my pocket homestead, but it's not really a pocket. Like, there's lots of people who do a homestead on a much smaller area, a much smaller space, or even just a balcony. So maybe I have to rename myself at some stage. It's definitely an exciting journey. I love homesteading. I just love being outside in the garden and creating things, growing things, making things. It's just, it comes with a certain satisfaction. And also the knowledge we gain from all this is power. And no one will be able to take that away from us, you know. If you're able to look after yourself and feed yourself, what can they do to you, right? What we still need is a water harvesting system. So we have absolutely nothing to harvest the rainwater. Now we're in Ireland, we do get a lot of rain, but this summer, for example, was very dry. And there was a few times where we didn't get a lot of rain. And we also then had a hose ban, so we weren't allowed to water anything in the garden, at least not with a hose. And considering the amount that we have to water, it's like doing that with a watering can. That would take you all day. So it would definitely be very handy to put something in place to harvest water. That's from us today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming along on my little garden tour. I've been doing lots of foraging lately, so for the next video I'll be taking you along for a bit of foraging, and then we'll be making some jams and jellies and chutneys with the things that we picked on our walks. I'll be heading in now, bringing the monkeys to bed. And I think the Buttons is ready to kind of rest a little bit today as well. You sloof. Good boy. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for our little foraging session.